I'm fascinated with anthropology.
Me too.
Like human anthropology, and the fact that we now know that there were 4 different human species living on the planet at the same time.
Yeah, maybe more.
Yeah. If Homo erectus was still around too, you got the Denisovans, you got Neanderthal, you've got your Homo sapien, and then there was another off some Indonesian island.
Yeah, the Homo floresiensis, I think that's how you say it. Those little hobbit people.
Yeah.
Yeah. They think there's still some of those alive somewhere. There's a thing in some parts of the country, they call them the orang pendek. And in jungles, people have reported seeing these little tiny people, little tiny hairy people, like, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. And so there's this myth of this orang pendek, and they never took it seriously until they found these little people on the island of Flores. And like some of these jungles are just so insanely dense, like in Vietnam and places like that. Like, who knows? There might be a small population of these things still alive today. Or
well, there's
alive
still
100
a
years
few
ago.
uncontacted tribes. There's that one in India that every time somebody tries to go
North
there,
Sentinel Island.
they kill them.
Yeah. Well, they didn't used to. When they started killing them, there was a guy named Commander Maurice Maurice
I wanted to make a
Portman?
movie about that.
Maurice Vidal Portman. Yeah. He was a pervert. And he'd run around fondling people and drawing pictures of them, making them dress up like Roman soldiers. And this guy, he was responsible for getting a bunch of them sick. And a few people died. And they even kidnapped people, and they tried to raise their kids somewhere else. I think they kidnapped some people. But that was a very hostile interaction with white people. So that one guy, he just did, air quotes, science.
Yeah. And now they were like,
now they'll kill everybody. You can't even get out of the boat. They're already shooting arrows in your direction. And now they have metal, too, because they took one of the boats that got stranded there. They had to rescue these people that were stuck on this boat because the North Sentinel people were coming for them in the boat, and they literally had to rescue them in time. But they got onto the boat, and then the next time they saw them, they noticed that they had metal weapons.
Really?
So they think they've salvaged pieces of the boat and turned it into knives and sharpened them and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy because there's only 39 of them. And they're the direct descendants of people who left Africa 60,000 years ago.
That's
and
crazy.
Because there's such a small number of them on this island the size of Manhattan, they just never passed like how humans were 100,000 years ago or whatever it was, 60,000 years ago. They're exactly that. They live exactly the way people lived back then, which is really wild to see. Uncontacted tribes, man. That's one of the weirdest windows into the variability.
Who we are.
Who we are, but also the variability that you can have people that are driving around electric cars talking on cell phones, and at the same time, some guy is sneaking up on a monkey in the jungle with a bow and arrow with a poison tip on it. And his family's been doing it that way forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
And they're both happening at the same time. That's kind of the wildest part of the story of the people coming to America, is that the Native American people lived in this, one of the things that's really, the way was so appealing, that one of the things that's so interesting about the reports from back then was that people that had left modern, air quote, Western civilization and moved in with Indians and started living in Indian cultures, they never wanted to go back.
Yeah.
But whenever they took people from, when it was Cynthia Ann Parker, when they kidnapped her when she was 9, and then they rescued her when she was a woman, she wanted to go back.
She escaped twice.
Yeah. She's like, I don't want to be, this life sucks.
Yeah.
That's the life. The living in the tent and chasing the buffalo, that's the life. Everybody said that. Nobody wanted to go the other way.
Yeah.
There wasn't people that were dying to get educated and forced into, jobs.
Well, Quanah, who was extremely smart as the last chief of the Comanche Nation, and then when he finally went to the reservation in Oklahoma and they said, okay, here you are, he was smart enough and astute enough to make a business of it. And there was a few ranchers, Sam Burt Burnett, who founded the 4-6s, and W.T. Wagner and Charles Goodnight, who needed somewhere to graze their cattle. Because that part of West Texas was having a terrible drought. Oklahoma had a lot of good grass. And they went up and talked to Quanah and said, hey, could we, graze our cattle here? We'll pay you. And he's like, you'll pay us? Yeah, we'll pay you. All right. Yeah, I'll do that. And so it became a great, partnership that they had, and did that for years. Really until Congress got wind of it, and they're like, we don't need those Indian people making money. That's not. We should outlaw that.